What's up guys, YST here and welcome back to another Raid Shadow Legends video. And today, we're going to be doing a guide on Husk, the Force Affinity Undead Hordes champion, who is famously known for its enemy max HP nukes, and all of the quirky ways you can utilize this kit to take down some of Raid's hardest encounters. When you speak about the Hydra Boss, the Magma Dragon, secret rooms, or even the faction wars, there's just so many ways for Husk to excel in this game. But before we get started, most importantly, I hope all of you guys are having an amazing day. I actually just went out with Hell Hades, Lady H, Odd One Gaming and Ivy Lee yesterday for some bowling and an evening with some dinner and stuff, which was a bunch of fun. And we got absolutely whooped by Lady H. Like, she must be a professional or something, I don't know. But when I was looking at my scoreboards and everybody else's scoreboards, I didn't even deserve to beat her, if I'm honest, but I'll put a picture up if you guys want to see that. I posted it in my page as well, but a ton of fun to meet up with some of the guys for the first time as well. So if we just head into the skills first, starting with the A1 with the Burning Iron, he attacks one enemy 2 times and has a 40% chance of placing a provoked debuff for 1 turn. Now, when you think about the Head of Decay trying to lock them down, or the Magma Dragon in the Doom Tower, being able to have this on a default skill can definitely be clutch in so many scenarios. Speaking for myself, I use a Coroner as my provoke during the Hydra Boss runs. And whenever that 3% doesn't land or the provoke set doesn't land, definitely has some clutch ways to come through, lock off that head, and then keep your run consistent. So definitely worth utilizing this. And then heading into the A2 with Despair, which is the money scaling ability, he attacks all enemies and has a great chance of placing a stun debuff for 1 turn, and the damage inflicted is proportional to enemy max HP. Now, of course, with the Hydra Boss and the endgame dungeons, there is a cap of 10%, so being able to optimize knowing how much you need in order to get to that 10% is useful. But then even for the lower floors like stage 20, you see a great value because there's no cap on those. So many ways you can use this, but the stun as well for like the secret rooms or wave-based content. Being able to have a crowd control nuke can definitely have a lot of value here. With the Retaliate, I don't personally use this, but you can use it in stuff like the faction wars or specific scenarios, where it attacks one enemy and damage increases according to this champion's current HP. So being able to rack up those stats, you'll see a better value with Retaliate. He's got a HP percent in arena battles by 30%. I don't personally ever use it or see anybody using it, but potentially in early game could have some value for you. So if we're referring to gear sets on this champion now, it's very subjective, because you can go for Reflex, which I use today, which can have a 40% chance to reduce a random skill cooldown to get some of those max HP nukes out. And the more times you proc this, the more times you'll be able to nuke them down and get through the Hydra Boss a lot more quickly. You can also argue that Relentless is on par or potentially better, but the downside of Relentless is, if you're building multiple champions in Relentless, such as a Geomancer or a Royal Guard or whoever that may be, this is a gear set that you cannot farm, whereas Reflex you can from the Ice Golem. So being able to optimize stats in Reflex is probably a lot easier because you can farm that. But the Relentless you only get from the top place of tournament groups, which is very hard to do, right? And it takes a long time of playing this game to gather enough Relentless to build multiple champions in the stats you're seeing today. So I thought Reflex, more obtainable, you can get it from the Ice Golem, and that's the one that I use personally as well. If you don't have the luxury of any of these gear sets, you can look towards Lethal, which you can get from the Dark Fae, or there's just many ways, or even stats over sets like Perception, if you want to optimize the accuracy. There's just so many ways you can build a Husk, as long as you've got the damage stats optimized. So the stuff that you're looking for is crit rate, crit damage, and speed, because you want to go as fast as you can to take as many turns as possible. We've gone for crit damage on the gauntlets, we've gone accuracy on the chest plate, because I actually use the provoke. But if you find yourself not needing provokes because you're already covered with that, you can just take the accuracy off and then you can just optimize damage and sustainability, right? It just comes down to your preference and how you guys use your Husk. We've gone for speed on the boots, and then once again we've gone for accuracy on the banner, primarily for the speed substat, because I am overcapped with accuracy and I do have an accuracy aura in my Hydra Boss team. We've gone for crit damage on the amulet with a great roll of accuracy here. And then defense on the ring with some HP percent substats, optimizing its sustainability. Overall stats, we've gone for 55k HP. A little bit on the low side for me, I would love around 65,000. 2.5k defense, where most of my champions are. Some around 3,000 or 3,500. Just comes down to what you can gear on your champions. And this all comes into fruition with the speed, because 235 is pretty hard to get to with the damage stats and the accuracy stats as well. So I've had to mitigate some of my damage to get to these speeds, but I'll show some other ways that I was using him before as well. Crit rate and crit damage, pretty optimized. You want to be looking towards 230 plus crit damage is a great place to sit at, considering you've got a drop defense or weaken out there. But definitely use the Hell Hades optimizer to optimize your Husk the best way you can. And then over 360 accuracy to place my provoke debuff, especially in the Magma Dragon as well, and the Hydra Boss. A way that I was using previous to this, for anybody that's endgame and you're thinking about how to optimize, let me just get something here. So we go for equips, we go for offense. I was using something like a, let's just see. We can put this on. And then we go into perception. I had a great piece that I actually had on before, but I took it off to put onto my Baron. Here we go. So if you have a look here, look at the difference in build now. We're pretty much the same at speed. We've got over 27% more crit damage. We've got 10,000 more HP, but we're mitigated a bit on the defense. And the accuracy is below the threshold that I'm looking for. But because I use 200 Rock in my Hydra Boss team, I don't need it, right? 290 is more than enough. With that bonus accuracy lead, I'll be well above that threshold as well. But these are stats I don't think most players can get to. So I'm going to be showcasing the one that I just built for you guys today, right? And another way that you can actually optimize your Husk is bringing in refresh accessories. Unfortunately, I don't have a bunch on my account. I've got one 4-star one here, which arguably I could use and still get some value with the 5% chance to prevent a skill cooldown. But in terms of all my other stats, I just don't have them, even equipped on other champions. Only the counterattack accessories and some of the shield ones as well. But definitely if you've got a refresh on your max HP nukers, that's definitely going to add to the value there. I do highly recommend booking up this champion as well. And the masteries we have gone down to, if I just move myself out of the way, we've gone down to War Master. But in early game, I was using Flawless Execution to add to crit damage, to nuke down those spiderlings and get through that boss for the spider's lair. You could also argue for Helm Smasher as well. If you're doing any form of endgame content, you're looking for War Master, guys, especially in Hydra Boss. With the support tree, it is subjective once again, because you cannot use Master Hexer to extend the value of a stun or the provokes that he does apply in his kit. So this just becomes useless. Same thing with Sniper, cannot increase the chances of these debuffs. So you're going to have to go for Spirit Haste and then optimize to Kill Streak to just get some more damage. Or if you don't want to go support tree at all, which I do highly recommend because of Cycler Magic, you could go to defensive tree, mitigate some damage, get some counterattacks, and just add to your overall damage output. Or you could actually use the CC as well in there. With the Fearsome Presence, get some extra value, but I'd recommend War Master over that. So that was the gear, the stats, and the masteries, and everything that I built on my Husk today. You guys let me know how you built yours as well, and maybe help some of the community out in the comment section below. And let's go have some fun with him. Let's go. Alright then, so we are now in stage 20 of the Magma Dragon. Unfortunately, I've not climbed high enough in this new rotation to get to the highest floor possible. But we'll still be able to see the mechanics of the provokes and the stuns as well for the waves. So as you see here, we've locked out all of these Akofta Sid. There's another one as well. So when you talk about crowd control in these waves, definitely has a lot of value, right? Definitely has a lot of value. And Rotus, of course, is picking them off one by one. I only wanted to bring in 3 champions because I want him to place as many provokes as possible throughout this run as well. There we go. Look at all of the CC, guys. Amazing. All right, can we get through here, please? So we don't have a lot of resistance on him, which you could put on him, I guess. But I'd rather optimize the accuracy and have cleanses or block debuffs up in order to protect him. And there we go. Dracomorph down. Come up against the boss. There we go. So max HP coming through, 106,000. Hope we can get a drop defense from a Rotos. So we didn't get the provoke there, unfortunately. Oh, we didn't land it again. So this is the thing, like the consistency of it is decent at times, but you can't rely on it, right? So maybe having 2 provoke champions in there, maybe paired with a Vizix down vote could be great. But he definitely does a lot more than this. Like, what's going on here? It's just like, he's shy of the video. There we go. We've seen a provoke, finally. But locking him off now, so now the Magma Dragon's going to come for him. Max HP coming through again. Boom. Can we get through another provoke, Husk? There we go. Back to backs now. There's some drop defense. Dead. Bring him back. And you can use someone like a Seal of the Drakes, whoever your reviver may be, just to bring back your provoke champion if they're not tanky enough, or if you don't have like any ally protection or something. Here we go. Another max HP nuke coming through. And this is all coming down to that reflex as well, getting some extra turns out there. Provokes coming through again. And there we go. 2 minutes 7 seconds, not too bad. And 774,000 damage coming out from our Husk. So let's go straight into the... We'll go into the Hydra Boss first, and then we'll go into some other areas. So in a Hydra Boss scenario, I actually use a 2 Hanarok, who has a 70% accuracy or a lead, which means that I can alleviate some of the accuracy stats that I showcased earlier. But it was important for me to showcase the value that you will need for the Nightmare as well. And this is also paired with a Geomancer, mainly for the decreased accuracy and some of the burns, and stripping some of the buffs that may get stolen throughout the run. We've got Missionarchy to also remove some buffs alongside the Hex debuff to amplify the damage on all of the heads. And those burn counterattacks, very impactful champion. We've got Snake Track, one of my favorite Hydra Boss champions in this game, putting up those protected shields, the Leech, the decreased attack through Poison Cloud, or whatever that may be. A very phenomenal champion for this. And then Corridor as my main provoke champion, alongside the Husk, who is my secondary provoke champion, alongside the damage. I'm going to showcase a full run on the Brutal, and then I'll also show you the Nightmare difficulty of how much damage you could do from there as well. And as you see here, we're going to come through with the max HP nukes. Boom. So a lot of damage coming out there, guys. Almost 120k per head. A Geomancer mainly for the damage mitigation from, like, the Head of Wrath. Because as you see here, we've got, like, no Necmophars, we've got no Krisk, we've got no Revivers. It's just a straight-out tanky team that can last a very long time. Which I'm actually a pretty big fan of. Usually I'd have, like, a Duchess in here, but didn't want to showcase her today. Didn't want to showcase her. So there we go. We're getting a lot of burns coming through as well. And how many times can we place that max HP hits? But there we go, the decreased cooldown. So now in this next cycle, we're going to have that max HP nuke ready once again. So come through one more hit here. The protected shield of Snake Track is amazing, man. But you gotta be attacking a target under leech. And there we go, 243,000 damage now, because we've started to get some weaken out, some drop defense. So when you're building your champions, you need to make sure that you're considering all of the debuffs that you've got out on your targets. Do you have the drop defense? Do you have the weakens? Do you have amplified damage of, like, increased crit damage buffs or whatever that may be? And all of these things are going to be considered to optimize your damage here. Now, unfortunately, on a full auto, which this one is, there's going to be weird ways where he goes for somebody with the negative affinity, or he might not go for the Head of Decay. So I would say he's best for kind of half auto, half manual encounters. Keep an eye out for the Head of Decay, see if you need to place the provoke, make sure it goes onto them, and then just go back into your auto again, right? But what I'll let you guys do is enjoy a bit of this run, and then I'll come back to you towards the end and speak about the utility and the Nightmare difficulty. Let's get into it. So we just closed up at 52 million damage. I just cut the run a little bit short with the recording. And we had 16 million on Mishinaki, 15 million coming out from Husk. Absolute beast, guys. And then 7 million from Geomancer, mainly because Mishinaki was overriding the burns on specific heads, which means that you don't get as much reflections, right? Because then it is now Mishinaki's burn. But that's okay. Our main reason was also for the Cruelty Blessing at a 5-star, being able to optimize that. Snake Track coming through with the support, Corin at 5 million damage, and 200 Rock with a little tiny 3 million, but that's mainly not what she's there for. It's just about all the utility of her kits. But Husk, it's impressive, guys. A lot of damage coming from him, and think about more endgame compositions. I've seen upwards of nearly like 30 million in some teams, especially, so a lot of value for the Hydra here. So if I just take this off now, and we go into the Nightmare difficulty, you can see here that it did around 10 million damage. He outperformed Mishinaki, but unfortunately I was re-gearing a bunch of champions for some showcases, and I forgot to put some gear on Mishinaki. As you see here, there's no Relentless, even in that brutal run I just showed you, but I've just put it on now. This team is usually around I'd say 40 to 45 million damage once Mishinaki's optimized, but Husk puts in a ton of work here, guys, and without any revivers doing a Nightmare key, it's pretty cool as well. So a lot of value for Hydra, guys. I just want a Necmofar, man. If I can get a Necmofar or a Kantra or a Chris, there's so many key components I'm missing for some of these cool compositions, or even a Chrysia. I'd love it. Okay, so next up we're gonna go into the faction wars. Let me just bring that up for you. And boom. And this is a team I traditionally like to use, where Husk is using the stuns alongside the block active skills of Vlad the Nightborn to lock out those Valkyries. Rotos for damage, we got some stripping of buffs with Michaud with the True Fears, and the ultimate Death Knight to enable the 3 stars against the boss itself, where he does the single target nukes and tries to take us out. So boom. Some nice block active skills there, but look at all those stuns, guys. It's very impactful. So if you guys are struggling against the Valkyrie waves, can definitely have some use. And even with the A1 provokes to lock out one of the nukers as well. A lot of value here. Strip that buff with Michaud, thank you very much. There's the provokes. But you do have to be wary that Valkyrie is the positive affinity, so there is going to be that RNG element of, are you going to place the stun, right? So all of these things need to be considered. But as you see here, the provoke on the Errol, who is the hardest hitter from this wave, it's very nice to put the provoke on, right? Lock him out a little bit. Boom, target's changed, and now we can just tank that up with ultimate Death Knight. We've got no stuns there, unfortunately, which is okay. And then just forwarding a little bit to the boss itself. We're going to be tanking up some of the hits of ultimate Death Knight's passive, like so. And because he's in Stone Skin, he's going to take no damage as well. So it's kind of like a cheat code for this faction war script. Boom, target changed. Max HP damage, almost 100,000 with no decreased defense as well. There we go. Nice little 20,000 hit on the A1. Packing up some more hits. Roto's showcasing too much damage here, but hopefully our Husk did a lot as well. And boom. Oh, Vlad the Nightborn's going to take some hit now, but no. Oh, he went for the UDK here. I forgot about that. I had to pre-record this yesterday because of the rotations. And there we go. So he capped out at 275,000 damage, but considering all of the leeches, or the stuns, sorry, and all of the crowd control he brings, and then the max HPs for the boss as well, if Rotos wasn't there, he would have had some more turns and been the MVP here. So last but not least, I'll showcase the stage 10 spider team that I use. I've had to optimize some of the speed on my champion, so it might be going a bit weird, but hopefully you guys get a gist for what I've been doing here. So we're opening up with the Hex. Boom, boom. Drop defense and weaken. Max HPs. And boom. But usually there, my Husk was a little bit slower, right? So he wasn't taking that turn, but because I've been optimizing for the Nightmare Hydra, he's falling a bit out of rotation now. But here we go. Drop defense and weaken. The Royal Guard is going to nuke, but my Husk is always the safety feature here. So he will be able to finish off the job, but it's just not perfected at the moment. I'm going to be building up my second Husk to be able to fulfill this role of just a spider. So then I've got one for each area speed tuned. But as you see here, pumping out a bunch of damage. But if we head into something like stage 20, for anybody that's participating in the lower thresholds, you can see that there's a lot of value, but most of the damage is going to be coming out from Royal Guard because of the way that the max HP isn't capped on these floors. Let's just reset this run because it just landed a weaken. Raid always likes to troll me when I'm recording. Drop defense and weaken. And hopefully we don't get a weak hit. There we go. So 916,000 from the Husk. Okay. 1.6 million coming from the Royal Guard. So there's a lot more value with the Royal Guard with the way that his damage is amplified. But you got to remember, once the cap comes into fruition, it's a very similar outcome. So if we just head out here. And to be fair, my Husk is a little bit more optimized. But if we head into stage 25 with a very similar theme, you'll see that the damage numbers are exactly the same. So drop defense and weaken. We're going to do a one-time speed. Boom. So 773,000 there. 773,000. So exact same max HP nukes. You just have to make sure that you reach the requirements on your champions in order to reach that cap. But yeah, guys, that is going to be all for today's video. If you did enjoy it, be sure to hit that like and subscribe button. Let me know if this is somebody you're looking towards building or you've already built and the ways that you've built them. I always love seeing the versatility that you guys bring to the comment section and makes me think a little bit as well of, oh, maybe I do want to build them up in this way. But the upside I would say for Husk is he's a lot more tankier. So thinking about the Hydra Boss, a lot more value for me personally, as my Royal Guard always gets smacked up in my compositions, but they're all very good in their own rights. I'll catch you guys in a video soon, and peace.